Say I appreciate them being there. As a former firefighter in the Navy myself, I know how much of a risk of life it is for these guys, and they are willing to do that for us. We need to be willing to fight for them. And that starts with you all, and we're going to make sure that you do it. Okay? That's what the rest of us are here for. With that being said, please make the right decisions, the decisions that help the citizens of our community. Thank you.
David Hassel.
I'm David Hassel. I live at 104 Belton Drive. I think it's very interesting that we have a town newsletter, and yet not one thing has been mentioned in our town newsletter about this momentous decision. It's very interesting, though, that at the very bottom of our town newsletter, it says support our local merchants. What about our local service providers? We've got a great police department, we've got a great fire department, yet we're not supporting this fire department. We're here trying to kick them out of their positions. It's also very interesting to say that in that same newsletter, which was from January, we have a budget surplus. When every other town, almost, in the state of Texas has a negative surplus, we have a budget surplus. We have over $4 million in our combined fund balances, almost. Yet we're complaining about $200,000 possibly on unsupported numbers? What about the apartment complexes that just town council voted in and approved? And that's going to provide us more money. What about the updated subdivision that's going over the Goldfield property? That's going to provide this town more money. And so now what we're talking about is having more money to support our fire department. Yet we're talking about reducing the amount of firefighters that we have. We currently are served by 36 firefighters. Yet we're talking about reducing it to 10. Okay? If we're talking about reducing our firefighters to 10 on-call firefighters, that means on a shift we're having 2 on an engine and 2 on an ambulance. That's 4 at a time. Well, how many do we have currently at our station over in Lake Dallas? How many do we have over in Corinth? That's all supporting us. When we go to 2 and 2, who's going to support us when they're out on a call at the apartment complex, because apartment complexes have higher call rates? Do you think that the people that are going to pay $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 are going to appreciate the fact that we don't have the same kind of firefighting equipment as Corinth does? No. Do you think they're going to appreciate the fact that we're going to have to rely on help from Little Elm, from Highland Village, if we have a call that takes more than 1 engine? I don't think they're going to appreciate that. Now, Mr. Gordon, I do appreciate the fact that we have raised our rate in the D magazine to 17, I think you said. 14. That's a great thing. But how high are we going to stay up that level if we lose our fire department? That's going to plummet, because that's what's important. And I want to bring to your point, attention, again, in our Economic Development Corporation, it says our population is young, well-educated, and has ample disposable income. If this is a financial aspect, we have the money. Let's support those who are here, and I just want to remind everybody, you get what you pay for, and if we're not going to pay for it, we're not going to get it.
Clearly.
Charles Cleary, 318 Lone Tree Lane, Hickory Creek. For those of us that were at the last council meeting and kind of have an understanding what this is all about, we know it's not about getting our name on the side of a fire truck, and we know it has nothing to do with all these fine firefighters. That what it really is Hickory, there's the City of Corinth holding gun to our heads and offering us a contract, and we can't negotiate with them. So thank you guys for having the courage to stand up to them and to Do whatever you guys have to do. Get them to the table. Let's negotiate with them and get this thing settled. Because that's what we all want. We don't want to get rid of these guys. You don't want to get rid of these guys. We just want a contract that we can live with. One that they will negotiate with us in good faith. Thank you.
Lisa McGrady.
Lisa Dupree, 18 Redwood Lane. Mr. Mayor and Council, first I want to say that I applaud your willingness to make tough decisions. As you know, many personal attacks are being waged against leadership in both cities. Fear is rampant and the communities are divided. From experience, I know this method is unprofessional and counterproductive, not to mention irresponsible. You were elected because you are trusted to make tough decisions, and the right decisions are not always the popular decisions. We are in recession. Many people are without work and are struggling day to day. I thank you for being good stewards with my tax money and theirs. I know our leaders have bent over backwards to work with Corinth, even though they refused to negotiate in good faith. Only now when Lake Dallas and Hickory Creek have united to solve the issues has Corinth begun to listen. As citizens, we need to look at the facts and not rally to emotion. Yes, maybe a few jobs may be lost, but in the end, your responsibility is to make decisions that affect the entire town and cities. I, for one, am 100% sure Lake Dallas and Hickory Creek will not put us in harm's way, regardless of the hype and innuendo being broadcast. I know that people, I know I happen to be related to Councilman Dupree. Some may assume that this is the basis of what I have to say today. Please trust me when I say we do not always agree. Mayor Smith and Mayor Marino, I know you would stand against anyone spreading fear in our communities. I am disappointed Corinth has not adopted the same ethics. One last thing. Thank you for walking through fire for us without a paycheck.
Scott Thompson.
Mayor Council, thank you very much. Scott Thompson, 5953 Snow Creek Drive, Colony, Texas. Thank you for allowing me to talk. I agree with the last three speakers, and I will address the last one. I'm 100% sure this will not work. I've been in the fire service 30 years. I'm currently writing a book on fire service success, and I use this model as one of the chapters. I was the fire chief here that brought the ambulance service to Hickory Creek, and it was Hickory Creek who was one of the big supporters. So let's talk about fact, and let's use your numbers, okay? Let's start with the overtime. If you just break down the salaries you're proposing for your officers, the hours they work, time and a half is what they were paid by law, and they take just 5 shifts off in a year, you've exceeded your overtime budget. Now let's talk about this whole equal service. You currently have 2 fire stations. According to your proposal, you will go to 1. In my math, that's a 50% decrease in system readiness. Okay, now you're saying, well, we have mutual aid coming. Let's think about that. Right now you have a city with 2 fire stations. If this goes through, you'll have 3 areas with 1 fire station: Corinth, Hickory Creek, and Highland Village. How often are you going to tolerate your city being void of protection to go help Corinth or Highland Village? It's called mutual aid. If you want them to come help you, you have to go help them. Let's use the numbers from last year. 900 times the Lake City Fire Department responded to calls in Lake Dallas and Hickory Creek. And just for the sake of numbers, let's say each one of those calls takes 2 hours. By the time the ambulance transports, does the paperwork, and gets back in town. That's 1,800 hours, okay? Do the math, that's 75 days. 75 days, the equivalent of 75 days out of a year, you're going to have to rely on somebody else to provide service. And you're going to have to pay them back. Let's talk about staffing. Right now, there's three person to an engine and 2 to an ambulance. In my department, if we fall below 3, we go out of service. That's what you'll be running with. According to my math, that's a 33% reduction in service delivery, going from 2 to 3. Last, I called State Farm. I put about 15 hours researching this in the last couple of days, and on a 1,000 square foot, or excuse me, $100,000 appraised veneer brick home going from an ISO rating of 4 to 5 will increase insurance by $43. A .02 tax increase to support the fire services you currently have will be about half that. None of this is emotion. Nothing is nothing more than working off the numbers that you are providing. You will have 4 people, 2 on an engine, 2 on an ambulance, providing protection. I know a lot of the advisors that have been helping me put this plan together. I've been in this county, like I said, for a long time, in this business for a long time. My boss demands that I am very efficient and I run a very efficient operation. I am 100% sure you cannot provide the same level of service. Thank you very much.
John, I'm going to let my wife speak for me, please. I'm opposed to it, Diane.
Diane Trelawney, 28 Arrowhead Circle, Hickory Creek. I can't find you. Thank you so much for the numbers that you worked so hard in such a short period of time to pull together. I think everything we have heard here today, especially when you have someone who really knows what he's doing when it comes to fire service, this is not a good idea. It's not good for the people. It's not good for the firefighters we already have. But you know, I'm sorry. I have such a hard time getting around the way this whole thing has been brought together. And I said earlier, I didn't know where or when it happened that the town became yours instead of ours. But I do know. That's what happens in a town that cancels elections. We didn't even have an election. For God's sake. We didn't have an election because none of us were willing to put out the effort and the time to run. And none of us thought we could defeat people who have now been up here since God was a little boy. We made a mistake. And we have to stop making the mistake. I sound like Washington when I say we must take back our town. Don't hand us numbers. That the way this whole thing was done, do you honestly think that you did not arouse suspicion? Why? Why was it such an emergency to call this meeting? Was there a 72-hour advance notice? I don't know. I found out about it by accident because somebody had to drive by City Hall.
John Moore, 31 Full Circle, Hickory Creek. First of all, I too support the Lake City's fire department.
and saved my son's life about 5 years ago. And I've always been a supporter. Back when Chief came on board, back when we took it from volunteer to pay, we had the same kind of meetings, pitchforks and torches, because everybody thought we couldn't get the same service. Everybody thought we couldn't do it by getting rid of the volunteer fire department and going to a paid. That was the same scenario that's going on right now. I support this fire department, and I know everyone up there does. The issue we're against that no one's talking about except a handful is that Corinth has us like this. And if you don't like it, I'm taking my football and going home. I've talked to most every one of y'all, and safety and protection and the integrity of keeping the fire department together is number one. But the second thing is, we can't have somebody bully our budget year after year. Do I know if your numbers work? I got to follow Chief. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's known for years, he's smart. But I've talked to each one of y'all, and none of y'all are ready to pull the trigger and say we want to get out of the fire department. None of it. All you want to do is sit down and have a fair chance to negotiate and put our town in a good, safe atmosphere when it comes to fire protection. I've listened to a lot of people get up here, and especially the last, saying y'all are going to vote, and y'all aren't using your heads. That's not true. The reason there wasn't an election last year is because y'all do a damn good job. That's why there wasn't an election. The job that you do every day, so does the fire department. And I know y'all support the fire department. But the Corinth way of doing it, from what I understand from certain council people, it's not fair. I own my own business. Y'all know I own the shopping center across from town hall. I own land on 35. I own truck dump. I got to negotiate with my customers and my tenants every day. My potential tenants. Negotiation is part of running an operation. And you guys are volunteering your time to run this operation for the town of Hickory Creek, and I applaud you for that. I thank you for that. And I just wish Corinth would do the same thing and sit down with y'all and work through this. Thank you.
Chair Rowland.
Cheryl Romley, can you hear now? Thank you. Cheryl Romley, 207 Garth Lane, Hickory Creek, Texas. I'm one of the elders of the tribe. I've been here 31 years. So I saw the volunteer fire department. I've seen it from the very beginning when we had nothing, and I've watched it grow. I've also survived 3 wildfires in my area, and I've seen it when it was very, very scary. I really, really encourage you to please, please negotiate. I know you're trying. We need to negotiate, get the best deal we can, but please do not put our lives in danger. Please negotiate, continue our contract, do not go backwards. It takes a long time to build up something, and it takes that long to take it back down and destroy it. We don't want to go backwards. We can't go backwards. Please don't. Thank you very much.
Ferguson.
Clint Ferguson, 1196 County Road, 4680. Thanks guys for having us out here today, and on short notice on firing for Lake City Fire Department. I'm not going to get up here today and hound y'all numbers. I mean, the numbers aren't going to lie. I mean, when you actually compare apple to apple on what you guys are getting right now, it'll come out in the wash. I mean, you know, the numbers are there. This man back here did all the research. I mean, his numbers are there. That's, you know, I'm not going to harp on that. You know, the few things I'm going to, you know, go over today, you know, people back and forth about it's a deal about cities and different things like that and can't get together. I'm a nobody. I'm just a fireman. I represent the guys. But this started Wednesday, and we rallied 2 cities, got them together. And yesterday, me calling on the phone and going around from door to door, I sat in a room with 3 mayors of 3 different cities by myself. So I don't know where the downfall and where it's all falling apart, why we can't get the contracts done. But if me as a nobody, you get the mayors of 3 cities together and sit in a room for 2.5 hours just to discuss what's going on. You know, there's a downfall somewhere because I can do it and I'm nobody. So, you know, you guys are elected to represent each town. You know, I don't know where it is, where you're gonna have to stand up and act like grown-ups and run your city like you should, because there's no sense that y'all can't pick up the phone and get together. I mean, I don't know where the downfall is. That's not here nor there. You know, my biggest concern, I don't live in the cities. I drive an hour to work every third day. I put my life on the line. I leave my wife and kids at home to come to y'all's city. You know, when we come over here, it's not about all that right now. I'm not gonna, you know, get up here and, you know, harp on the guys that are gonna lose their jobs if it all goes down. It's the citizens that you're putting at risk right now. If you guys start your own fire department tomorrow, we've got 50 years of experience. We know where there's no hydrants. We know where there's no water. When a call comes in on that end of the neighborhood, we know right away that we get on the phone and we've got people coming countywide, 3 counties away, bringing tanker trucks, because we know it took 50 years of ups and downs to get to where we're at right now. You know, when you start a new fire department, I understand it can be great, have all the new deals. I don't doubt, one doubt in my mind that the city of Hickory Creek does not have the money to run it. It's obvious in the budget. Y'all can buy all the finest bells and whistles and pay the good guys. But at the same time, in the whole project that you're going, in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, to get to a good performing fire department like what you have right now, you're going to put every one of these citizens behind me at risk, because they're going to go through the ups and downs and the bumps and bruises of learning. Oh, we can't get a truck in there if it's raining because it sinks in the mud. We can't get to these people to get these people out. You know, it's not just all of this. There's a lot more at risk. You know, there's 50 years of heart and soul that is put in this fire department. This got it to where it is, that everybody knows where we can get to, when we can get to it, how much time we need, and who all we have to call to get it done. When y'all start, y'all are going to have to go through the hard knocks. And I'm not arguing that you can't. Y'all are a city with a lot of money, intelligent people running. I'm not saying that y'all can't do it. I'm just saying that there's lots of things that y'all should consider before you do it. Thank you.
Much more spirited discussions here at your meetings than we do on the park floor. I want to thank y'all for having this meeting today. I'm a 17-year resident, been over there on Oak Circle, and I'm all for saving money. And I've talked to a couple of y'all about what's going on, and it's, you know, it's about that contract with Corinth. It's almost like extortion. What is water right now? It's like, well, we're going to charge this, ain't nothing you can say about it. So where does that leave us? Doesn't leave us a whole lot. I know none of y'all want to lose the fire protection. Every one of y'all's got a house here in Hickory Creek. Some of you got more than one. I don't really think y'all are going to be putting your own properties, your own families at risk. So I don't think that's a problem either. I really do think you're looking out for the citizens' concerns here, looking out for our money. I know John's, you know, he's pretty tight with the money. I don't think that he's looking to just, you know, save a dollar. I think he's actually looking at our money. But my biggest concern was the fear mongering that was happening yesterday. Now I was actually familiar with this situation, and I had a man come up to my door and, hello, first words out of his mouth was, "You're fixing to lose your fire department. You're not going to have any fire protection." Now, this ended up being a fireman, and this is a man who we look at, I mean, he holds a position of trust and esteem and honor in this society and in this neighborhood. And I'm with the Scouts. We're constantly taking food over these guys and helping them out and everything. But when a fireman comes up and he just first words out of his mouth, "Hi, you're going to lose your fire department. You're not going to have any fire protection." That was just wrong. Okay, I did not appreciate that. You know, Mark Twain had a saying, "A lie will run around the world before the truth can get its boots on." And I think that's what happened yesterday. And I'm real interested to sit back and hopefully y'all will explain exactly the decision y'all are going to make when we get to the actual agenda item. Thank you for your time.
Okay, with that, before we go into the actual business items, we're going to take a 10-minute break and reconvene at, say, 2:10. So those of you that are out in the back, that if somebody leaves in the front, You can come take your seats, that way if some of you want to go to the back, or some other people can sit down, that'll be good, but we're going to take a 10-minute till 2:10, we'll reconvene at 2:10.